Hey, good morning, neighbors. Tom Zapolsky here, your board president at Venture Out. It's January 20th, and just last night we had a board meeting, and so I wanted to provide a bit of a recap. Now, let me share this with you. A few things about these recaps. One, I am sharing them from my perspective and my experience in the board meeting. That doesn't mean anything's wrong with it. It just means that there's nothing that can replace you attending a board meeting and developing your own perspective. In addition, we do have the official minutes of the meeting that will probably more accurately reflect, some of the details. But I thought rather than know nothing versus reading all the board minutes and having a great deal of detail, that perhaps this might be a useful way for you to stay informed. Called the meeting to order, had about 30 people online, board in the clubhouse and online. A couple of owners showed up at the clubhouse. We always start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, call to order, roll call, some opening remarks. Right at the top of the meeting, we had a gentleman from a construction company come in and share some information with the board with regard to the front clubhouse. As you know, it's a really old building. It's got a couple different issues, from mold to the railing on the top floor being compromised, and then it was hit by a water spout about a year and a half ago, I believe. It was definitely about a water spout. I feel like it was about a year and a half ago, maybe two. So we had an engineer develop some recommendations on repairs, and this particular construction company looked at those and said, hey, here's some things you need to pay attention to when getting bids. Really informative and helpful. And one of the things we have to keep an eye on is if we end up doing work that is beyond 50% of the value of the building, then we're required to bring the whole building up to code, which is dramatically more expensive. So the board is very carefully, very diligently and methodically gathering information on how to help us as a community navigate that. It clearly needs to be repaired or replaced. We can't have it sitting there and not use it and just continue to deteriorate. But we definitely need to have a plan of attack here. So that was good information. It started the conversation in some ways, some paths of things we need to discover, more questions we have than necessarily answers at this point. But I like to have information and perspective from various people when contemplating decisions. So I thought that was very important and helpful. Approved the minutes. Cindy Rainey, our treasurer, gave a financial report, extremely detailed overview of the audit that we review. Our financials at the end of the year are sent over and audited to ensure that every credit card statement or transaction has an accompanying receipt and approval, and all discrepancies are noted. It's a very, very thorough process, and an important one for us. So she went through the past couple of years reports, was speaking to when the 21 and 22 report will be done, and briefed the community, specifically the board, on that. We also went through the special assessment, some of the items there that have been completed and are in budget. These reports also are totally available to you. They're available on Appfolio, and if you're not on Appfolio, I can encourage you to get on. But if you're not going to get on Appfolio, then they can be emailed to you. And so we want to operate with a great deal of transparency. Make sure you have what you need. Let's see, manager's report. Suzanne Bishop ran through kind of the activities that the maintenance crew and the front office and some of the major projects that she's working on. Very helpful. We then discussed the drainage issue behind Bathhouse 1. Some of our owners and board members have been collaborating and gathering information. Really cool thing about our community, you all have expertise in your careers. And so when we need something, we often look into the community and say, who has done drainage issues before? Who has road experience? Who has electrical experience? Whatever. Not because we need them to do the work, but need them to help evaluate the recommendations we receive. Are the budgets we receive, are they fair, in line with what you're seeing? We're not getting taken advantage of. So we looked at that drainage issue, and it looks like there's some good options there. A quick reminder, we have some of these issues in our community like some congestion in our streets with regard to vehicles and parking, drainage of water, because we were never designed to be what we became, right? If you look at the old pictures on our website, you could kind of look back from the front of Venture Out all the way to the back, and there were palm trees and RVs, but every site had a substantial yard. And so our permeable surface, right, the surface that rainwater can be absorbed into, grass, sand, dirt, has almost totally disappeared. So that means the rain falls on our community and gets directed into our streets and into our sewers. So as a community, we got to figure out how to deal with that. These aren't super fun things you get to do on the board, but they are super important. We approved a new air conditioning system back in the maintenance area. This is also where the security camera equipment will be stored. So there's multiple reasons why that was necessary and needed. We approved a new clubhouse hood system in the front clubhouse snack bar, so that we can now have our vendor do chicken tenders and french fries and cook food up there. That'll be exciting for the new year. Angie Singletary, a board member and longtime volunteer in the community, made a presentation on her process that she's been going through with the manager and the board to take inventory of what we call common ground. Okay, common ground are those areas that you and I as owners collectively own. The beach, the roads, the parks. But there are also small bits of common ground kind of sprinkled throughout the community. So as an example, if you go back to the maintenance shed, you notice on the other side of the fence is the state park. Running all the way up that road are homes in Venture Out. Well, those homes from the back door to the property line is a certain distance, and then from that property line to the fence is what's called common ground. And Venture Out owns that. And over the years, people have gone through different processes with different boards to say, hey, can I put some pavers there? Is it okay if I set a chair there? I would like to, because I have to look at it, plant some plants and flowers and improve that space. And so we as a community are just taking inventory of what has occurred there, and then how we as a community will manage that moving forward. And there's more to come on that. If you're one of these people, pay attention, don't freak out. But if you abut common ground anywhere in the community, inventory has been done with regard to who is encroaching on common ground, whether or not they have an arrangement to do so, whether or not that arrangement is appropriate, and then how we as a community will handle that moving forward. So that process has begun. I assure you it is not going to be a quick one. But it is something we need to check out. Angie also gave a detailed beautification report on what her committee's been doing. She's the chair of the beautification committee in many ways in the community. Cindy Rainey made a motion to modify the estoppel questionnaire fees. When you sell your home and the realtor or bank sends these questionnaires to the association, as an association, we're entitled to be compensated or collect a fee for that effort. This is no big deal to anybody. It's wrapped up in the transaction itself. If you sell your home, the $200 or $300 in fees that someone bears in the enormity of that transaction are usually no issue at all. Suzanne Bishop also our manager made a motion to purchase some new pool loungers. You know, our chaise lounges, sunbathing chairs, etc. Get wear and tear and become stained or broken. And so she's getting ready for season. So we'll have some new stuff there. And also a pavilion update. We've got a few quotes. I would like 3. So we're going to continue to work for a little bit on those quotes. But from everything we're seeing, we will either have that 3rd quote or examine the 2 that we have, be able to make a decision as a community and have that thing in place, the pavilion back by the bay, by summertime and perhaps quite a bit before. So anyways, that's what's cooking. Again, nothing replaces participating in the meeting, but if you didn't have an hour and a half last night, you got 9 minutes and 50 seconds today to get quickly briefed. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to any board member, but I'm readily available, and our community manager, Suzanne Bishop, as well. Side note, kind of an asterisk on the end, the notices of the meetings are sent out through AppFolio. They're posted properly. So as an organization, from a legal perspective, we're doing it right, but we want to encourage participation. And there appears that perhaps coming out of email through this week, there was a delay in the distribution, or the attachment was a link, but in the body of the email it didn't show the information. So we're going to look at that. And if you didn't know about the board meeting, or feel like you didn't have enough information, we're going to improve that, and I'm going to work on it personally. So anyways, again, engagement, participation, what you think, what you want us to do are things I want to know. So discouraging you from participating kind of goes totally against that. All right, hey, it's Friday. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.